hard to do that?
Scary.
Good evening, and welcome to our meeting. It's the regular meeting for the Economic Development Commission of East Windsor, Tuesday, December 7th at 5:58 p.m. And because it's at the town clerk's office, I'll say ping 7 o'clock. As listed in our listed at the oh, I'm in the wrong, I'm at the wrong meeting. 6 o'clock. I go all 7 o'clock, it's so 6.
I know.
Yeah, I apologize, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, welcome everyone. Let's see. It's a regular meeting. This is also a Zoom meeting. For anyone who wants to look up East Windsor, Zoom. And for members, all members, for quorum, let's see, we have Robert Like is absent tonight, and we have Brian
Turley.
Here. James
Jimbo.
is here.
Yes, I think my father's young.
James Richard is here, and our liaison, Ruth Ann, is here, and we have our recording secretary,
So.
Sado, is here, and myself, Gil.
Charlie, I'm done.
Charlie's on Zoom. Hi, Charlie. Yeah. Wait. Before we start, I'd like to stand. I'll lead us to the pledge of allegiance, but before doing so, I'd like to take a pause for those who lost their lives 80 years ago, and also for those who continue since defending the Constitution with their lives here in the U.S. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Do we have any added agendas for tonight's meeting?
I had one thing which would be a quick discussion of this erase grant list that I provided. Listing that I used.
Okay.
Just to, so we can talk about it. I don't care where you had it, Bill.
We can go on 5 and leave it as
Okay.
such as other economic business unless you need to have it before anything
No,
else.
no.
Okay, so we'll leave that and that'd be on that.
Excellent.
The only other thing I had is I brought copies of the bylaws.
Okay, is that to be discussed or?
Not necessarily just for, I know there was a question about how many people it takes to make a quorum. And so I thought it would be worth to have people have the.
Yeah, I think that might have came out of the office down there when I my discussion today.
Perhaps, but I just wanted to, just as an added,
I think,
I'm just gonna
yeah,
provide that to folks.
okay, for this commissioner, it's 3 anyway, we all know that.
We might get like
Right.
Supreme Court and expand and that would change.
Yeah.
it.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So we'll discuss that just to add it in. And would you like it right at the end with 5 as well?
Sure.
Yeah, there's no. Let's see, public participation. Is there anyone in the public who would like to have the floor for tonight's meeting?
Everybody stares at Charlie.
We have no one in the big room. We have Charlie over there. I also should add that Board of Selectmen member Charlie Nordell is on with us when I was established on the quorum, just to let everyone know who that is over there. And it's handsome face, Charlie Nordell. So hearing none, public participation will pass. No public participation. As the agenda, we did that, public participation approval of minutes for our November 10th, was it? I do have one.
Should I make a motion? And then we can-
Yes, please. Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of November 10th, 2021, our special meeting.
I'll second that. With one exception, it's on page 3, item 7B. It says that Gilbert Hayes, that I have joined the alliance to understand, what is that? I have joined the alliance to the core mission for the Metro Hartford Alliance. So I had joined it. I was just invited to ride along, so just one word, it says have, just cross out HAVE, have. Okay. I joined the alliance to understand their core mission. It was information about including the concept plans, substitute projects, parcels in our application for our town. And I was just a ride along, like see, informative ride along. And then Roseanne elaborated on that. She was also with us. So that one word, have, joined. Okay, moving along. We're gonna, okay, we've been, we're looking for a vote on accepting the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll go back to having a meeting at 7 o'clock. So no reflection on you on that correction. It's just, I think it might have been my word.
Personally, I have, I've done several meetings over there.
So it's probably my word.
But you're right, though, have joined would indicate, imply that you joined the alliance.
Yeah.
that you did.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Not that I have anything against it, but. I have not at this point. So we've all approved the minutes and voted all yay. Proposed meetings revised. Now there's a change on the meetings. I believe it's on for May. This is revised, and would you like to elaborate as what happened?
There was an error in setting up the meetings, particularly in months where the month started later in the week. Just the way staff looked at the calendar.
Okay.
Human error.
Hey,
Okay.
no cocktails at lunch, come
No
on.
problem. And-
Hey, hey.
Okay, and we did discuss the August meeting where we normally don't have a meeting, but I think you were excited, not excited, but you were interested in having a meeting just in case it can be canceled.
Right.
Rather than schedule one.
Right, it's better to have it scheduled because then we're not tied into a special meeting for
Yeah,
that.
okay. And we did discuss and vote on that, or agree a consensus on that last meeting. Okay, now election of officers, is that this month's meeting or is that coming up?
I make the motion to accept the meeting schedule for 2022
Second,
As amended.
as amended.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We had a discussion, all in favor, aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Now, back to election of officers. Is that scheduled for this meeting? Is there something that mandated that we do that?
We're supposed to do it at some point. I think it's this.
Supposed to do it in December.
This is December.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna go into election of officers and for nominations. I'll make the first nomination, if that's okay. I nominate James Richard for chairman. And you can second.
I'll second
yourself. Okay, you can second and vote for yourself. All right, I got it nominated and then second that. Okay, again, any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Seeing none, Mr. Richards there. You're voted in as chairman, so we have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You could vote for yourself.
I'm abstaining.
Maybe you can say
What
no.
the hell?
I'm sitting here going,
So
oh, another
this
son of
went a little
a-
quicker than that.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay,
Look at
now we have three other positions on the economic development. And then being fair, for our new member, Brian, is there either position as vice chair or secretary that you would help us out with, knowing that this chairman is going to be stepping down and passing the gavel to Jim in a few minutes, and I'm only going to be a member at large.
Is there any other, like Bob Light or any of those that would be interesting?
Bob Light, won't be interested in attending any more meetings. I can talk to him personally. And then Bob Maynard, who was on the list, is officially resigned because of conflict. He's in that other room over there at another meeting. So it's up to you. You could think about it.
I would like to think about it. It just,
Yeah.
it's only my second meeting.
That's right.
And being.
I said in all fairness.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna ask for a motion to close all nominations for officers at this time.
So moved.
And of course, I'll second it. Okay. So that's it. I guess. You are the chairman.
So you want me to take over now?
Sure. I'm not if you're ready.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Yes,
You're not sure.
I'll do what's asked of me. That's kind of where I'm at.
Is that proper to
Yeah,
Have him
it is.
slide in?
I was willing to let you run the meeting, Joe, whatever you prefer. As chairman, I can say that, so.
I did what I wanted to do, and that was honor the soldiers
Okay,
being veterans. So,
all right. Well, let's jump right into it then. Since we're off of other business, we're up to budget 2022-23. And Gil and I had a discussion already outside, Brian, obviously we've been working on it. If you said you had a copy of last year's budget for
I have a
Brian?
copy of what got adopted
Okay,
and also what the second page is what was requested, the first page is. Inland wetlands is on the same sheet and in a different spot for each year. I don't know why I sent it out that way.
that's fine.
okay, fine.
The top one was the request and the bottom was the,
Yeah, you can see the years on there. It's really,
okay, so which one's the, oh, that's what I don't. And I don't want to go wrong because I want to make sure I discuss this.
so the way I see it is the request is the total, the department total, 4,150. And the adopted is the 1,800. That's the way I mean.
Okay,
Or
There's
the,
a 22 request.
it's a
and a
1225, right? It's a minimum.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
21.
Yes, I did exactly what I warned you about.
So
Yeah,
which one am I looking at, Brian? Help me out.
12,
So we're looking at this one? And this one.
Okay, which one was last year's?
This one.
This one was last year's and this is what we're talking about this year, correct?
And it was adopted right here.
So we haven't made our request for the next fiscal year.
Okay,
This is what we adopted for this year.
This is the,
okay, what I want to do, because I want to get us back to where we were at, and we're gonna need some money to do some things in the next year. And I would like the rest of the commission to go along on me. I want to make sure that we get enough money for our recording secretary, which I believe we're doing. Professional services, 3,000, what's that? Is that something?
I don't see it in the detail. It's not
Okay.
included, like it's not there for 12. It is, it was for 20.
Okay, so essentially, this was a bare bones budget, no extras, no outside things. I also want to include, since this is a budget that goes from us to the Board of Selectmen, and knowing that the Board of Selectmen can reject anything we ask for, and you have to go into this knowing that. I think with what's occurred in the last 2 years regarding the casino, originally we had a draw to town because the casino was bringing people in, looking at hotel spots like Jim Balch has down on Route 5, etc. That's gone by the boards because the casino's not coming. So we have to become more aggressive. So what I would like to do is ask for a $5,000 budget for in-house, in other words, for recording secretary, professional services, education and dues, and other, which I would put under marketing, et cetera. And I also want to include in this year's budget about $140,000 request. And I'm sure they're going to turn us down, but we should be requesting it every year. And that is for the securing of an economic coordinator. I feel that our first selectman has done an excellent job doing that, but he's also the first selectman. And I think we need to start building toward the future. And the reason I'm asking for about the amount I'm asking for is I know that we need at least $100,000 to hire anyone of any kind of value. Now, we could get part-timing. We had Roger O'Brien years ago, and he did a small amount. It wasn't on it.
$10,000, Roger.
Roger was very inexpensive and so on, but you got your $10,000 worth. But he was very much part of the casino negotiation, so it was
Yes.
worth it. But we might end up having to do some kind of professional search. And in all my research on that, looking at like superintendent of school, if you go for that or something, we might need a certain amount of, $20,000, $30,000. I'm not saying we would necessarily spend it. If we could find someone in the area that has an interest in the position, because if we request this, one of the requests would be that the Board of Selectmen create a job description for us. So it's a matter of requesting. It needs to be in some kind of department. I don't believe any other department at this point, and Ruth, you correct me, in the development sections is requesting anything like that.
I'm gonna ask Ruth a question, interrupt.
No, that's this discussion.
Mike, what does he do for us? Would he be involved in this discussion, Mike? What does he do? Mike is the guy.
Mike is a professional planner.
Okay.
And does get into the economic development. We have him involved with many different initiatives. You saw him, he was on the bus ride.
Right.
Identifying developable properties, doing some types, like, he hasn't started yet, but we'll be doing a market assessment, like what would sell in the town.
Okay,
Writing the regs that coincide with that. There's a reg under development now, a zoning regulation that would be on the line of dropping a commercial development zone and coming up with concept plans that could be
yeah.
approved.
So he's
prior
not
to-
knocking on doors. She's,
No, he's not,
Give it-
no,
give it-
he's
give
a,
it-
When South,
you're not.
He's a strategist.
well, in South Windsor, when they developed, they had Peter Denali as town planner and John Shimo, who went to Metro Hartford, by the way, when he was down in South Windsor as the economic guy. And it's really, Lori Whitten, when she was here, played both of those roles, but there is some conflict there, just in the nature of the beast. And I think it's behooves us to at least put it out there. Let's discuss it. And Mike, I think, is doing a good job. I've seen him at the P and Z meetings.
I'm sorry, who is Mike?
Mike Tomato is a planning consultant. And he was interim town planner. And is still on board. And really, to be a backstop for the technical aspects of the planning.
Right.
While I come all up to speed, as well as he supports the economic development efforts that come out of my office as well as.
He works for you. Mike works for you.
Yes, he does.
But Mike also has other commitments to other towns, doesn't he?
He's an independent consultant.
Right, and I'm,
And he has at least half a dozen towns that he works with directly as a partner, who covers, you know, it gives him a breadth of knowledge that we get to benefit from,
right,
really.
and that's the kind of guy we want to hire in the long term. But I think we need to look at it realistically. When, you know, people get spread out between things and not focused on one area, it's tough. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. I just know I'm more interested in having someone come in and be like a John Shima was to South Windsor, which was their economic guy. Peter Demali was the town planner, and together they worked on just what you're talking about. So that's why I wanted it at least in the request basis. I fully expect, you know, the town raised taxes for part of the town last year because they were fixing some things. And I think it's something that if you don't put it in there now, you know, 2 or 3 years from now, we might need it. And you can't start then. You gotta almost start now.
Now, what are other towns, you came up with 140,000, how do we come up with that?
I'm
number?
basing it on Patrick, I'm gonna say his name wrong, he's McMahon.
What town?
He used to be with a lot of towns. He ran Main Street. McMahon, is that right? Gosh, he's been here, Mahone, Patrick Mahone. He's been here. And what these guys do is things like what John Shima used to do and Patrick do. They go to different meetings, they get to know different possibilities, people that they meet. You want someone connected like Roger, when we had him, he was very connected from being in the business. And that's what I'm looking for. It could very well end up being someone like Mike. But I think that we need our own person, and we have to start somewhere. The 100,000 is probably the low end of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are the other towns?
Yeah,
What's-
probably more like 150, 200 as far as payroll.
That's shooting for the moon, but in between, if we can get a consultant like perhaps Roger, but then what projects?
Well-
Go out and knock on doors.
Well, you don't, sorry,
I'm gonna just, the knocking on doors, I'm not sure what.
they do things like when Joshua Hawks Flat had his economic things. And we haven't had it because of this COVID. I remember going with Lori Whitten to the one across the river. And in that room, you had people that knew other people. I mean, this is the way
It's
that works.
networking and marketing and being the PR person.
Right, right. And if we ask for this much, let's say they turn us down, but they give us 25,000 for it, then we can look at a while.
But what you just said.
Networking and
Yes.
marketing, being the PR
Right.
person for the town. All the
Okay.
efforts that are kind of, they're underway. I mean, they're underway. That happens with trips like with the Metro Hartford Alliance, with CCM panel discussions that Jason just did with Leo and Scran. You know,
Well, I
Being
understand
part of-
completely.
being
And
part of that networking. And so it's, I think what you're saying is you want
But he's,
that person.
his first selectman, you said his
Mhm.
first selectman. Got 2 more years. What happens if someone grabs him from us?
Well, and that's, what if it just loses an election? I'm not saying that, like I would myself, but I'm saying this is why I wanted in our budget, let them turn us down, and the worst we end up with is, you know, where we're at.
And there's a reval coming, so we asking for this amount of money, when's that gonna be effective for next year, the reval? Budget, the budget and taxes,
For taxes.
It's
We're doing a
it's in the
reval
process, you're right.
for the next steps.
yeah, I imagine so.
Well, and,
No, it's not this one, because I was on the board system.
So it's for the next year,
I come to I'm sure when I-
for our tax rate, August 2023,
23,
or
24,
I mean, July 23, 24.
think so. It's coming,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And the point is, you know, last year we had the town pass a lot of things where it put an onus on a certain part of the town for certain items. And this year, What I'm asking is this would be an onus on the entire town, including the business community, which I think you would find is probably in support of such an item.
If you're looking for a motion or consensus on it, we have to turn this in. I guess.
Well, I'd say let's make a motion, let's pick a number, we've explained it. And then when, you're gonna have to go before the board of selectmen for the budget, correct? Is that- Well, then we'll join you.
My
and-
budget, you may have to.
Right,
As chairman of.
absolutely, I intend to be there, that's the point, we can't not show up. And we have to accept the fact we could be turned down. But this obviously was important to the commission for many, many years. And we need to move forward.
I'll move that we have add to our budget $140,000. In discussion, we'll find out what our justification is.
Is there a second to that? You have to do it, I'm the chairman now, so I don't.
Well, I just think there should be more discussion and more information. I just don't feel comfortable voting on something.
It's like
And
you need the backup information
and I
first.
did,
not
I
just the
did
idea.
say that for discussion of justification,
Yeah.
so we can.
Yeah, you can vote it down.
With that verbiage, I agree with that. I
Well,
just
in
don't-
your second just opens the discussion. If everybody votes no at the end of this discussion, then we go back and we vote again on whatever new budget number you want.
I go forward with further discussion to support, you know.
Okay, so that's a second.
And the reason-
You don't necessarily have to second it if you
I want to.
don't want to, but there's gonna have to be a discussion somewhere along the line.
I did, based on the information tonight, I would, and I'd probably say, no.
Okay. And then,
Okay, when we don't, is that a second? That's the problem. If you don't second it, we can't talk about it anymore.
okay, if you want to second it, then you could, we can discuss it, and then the no vote could come in. I'm probably joining you.
Right, so I can second that, we'll further the discussion. then.
Right.
Okay.
Right, that's not deciding the budget, that's just opening the door.
Okay.
So that we can vote, that's how it's supposed to work. So that's all I'm looking
Gotcha.
for. Okay, now we're back to the discussion part. I agree there needs to be more backup. Unfortunately, the request for the budget this year has to be in by,
17th.
so we're not gonna have,
December?
yes.
I think as we had discussed, the 140 is a rocket shot, and it's just gonna, as your first statement that you said, they're probably gonna turn it down.
Right.
So let's be reasonable, and I made the motion just so we can get reasonable. We will need something in the like an escrow account to give someone like Rod $20,000 would be a lot of money during budget time, but they'll probably just dwindle it down and you get all the way back down to your $5,000. So you can think about that. As far as the 140, that's a big chop. I think what 140 would do would be go into Jason's budget, and for him to think that we need that type of person here in town, and for him to hire, rather than for us to.
Well, that's exactly. I'm just jumping in, and anybody stop me, don't know me, I'm a little pushy. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. In his budget, he's not going to add this in. If we put it in our budget, it makes it available for him. If they want to turn us down, it's not affecting his budget, it's affecting our budget. Which is why it's the perfect place to put it, because we realize, like you said, would you say it was a rocket shot?
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not making that decision. In other words, if we decide tonight to vote yes on $140,000, the selectmen will look at it, or the first selectman in his budget presentation to them, and say, this is what they requested, this is what we're gonna give them. We're not necessarily gonna get the $140,000. I'll give you, for instance, you go to any commission in town and you see what they request and what they end up with. It's never well, I shouldn't say never, it's usually not the amount they want, but what they can get. And that's what I'm saying to you tonight. If we don't start putting that number out in the request each year, and that's why I'm asking for our commission to take a stand. All we're doing is advising the selectmen that one, we think this is important. That two, the marketing and the job that Jason's been doing now could be limited. I'm not saying it is, but it could be, and we need to be prepared. We can't go after the budget season and try to get $100,000. They're gonna just laugh at us.
We did ask for a consultant.
And
There
there
wasn't, and we had in front of the selectmen, and I wasn't with them, and they got shot down. I don't know if they had a dollar amount at that point, but right now, if you're talking about $140,000, yay, we're gonna get it. Again, probably not, but say if you cut that in half, and I kind of wrangled you into the second, so I of course wouldn't vote for the 140. For a person, a live person in here to be, what you call a consultant.
whatever the
With
term,
all the pay and
economic
benefits,
coordinator.
all the pay and benefits for a full-time person would be, with the benefits, $100,000 would be probably the lower end of what we need.
Absolutely.
But we're not gonna get that. But there's also times when we need a consultant, and $5,000 not gonna give us a consultant. So
No, the $5,000, let me be clear, the 5,000 that I talked about has nothing to do with this. That's our separate, that's our operational fund. If you lack of better terms, I'm talking about how we can step up things, because the $5,000 will not get us anything, like you're saying. You do a few things and that's it, and we'll just sit in the water for a year.
okay,
And what you're saying, I'm not disagreeing with you. We could ask for the 140 Gil, and they could turn around and say, we'll give you 60.
yeah, I think we had
And
that.
then you'd have your part-time. See, remember, this is our request. It's not carved in stone. It could be, they give us $1,000 and tell us, that's it, fellas. I mean, reality.
Yeah.
But we're also spending a lot of money on a lot of other things in this town. And pretty soon, if we don't continue the commercial economic growth, then we're not going to be able to pay for it. Commercial economic growth is not only important to the town, but to groups like the Broadwood Fire Department and the Warehouse Point Fire Department.
I'm gonna say we got the guy that you're looking for,
Hmm?
sitting in that office, first elections office. We got that guy. He's doing that. $140,000. Let's give him a pay raise.
It's two separate items, and again, anything can happen. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get it to the point where they approve an amount. The Board of Selectmen have to do the job description. That's not our job. I think it's been created already 3 or 4 times, from my past experience, you know. So what I'm really trying to do is say to the selectmen, this is what we need. What can you give us? And the only way to really ask that is to try to give them a real number. If we go in and try to lowball it, well, we're gonna be caught up in the lowball situation.
Is there anything specific, and interjecting probably not,
Please,
belong,
please do.
that you could see the consultant doing? Because I have a consultant line in my budget for the planning and development department that I have Mike D'Amato working on crafting what my request would be with backup for the work that I'll have him working on. Some of that is development of marketing type material,
But again, Mike's not a staff member,
you know, but
and he could decide tomorrow,
true.
and
But
then I'm just trying to get us to that point. If you feel that's the best way
well,
to go
I'm just
about
saying,
it.
if there's the likelihood that you'll staff a position from a commission, I don't see that as realistic. I just don't,
I agree with you.
I don't, see- but that is my view of it.
Okay,
But I will say that the type of services you're looking for from the individual we're talking about coincides with the first selectman's asked that I give this some good thought for how best to utilize my fleet is top notch.
I would say that your budget for the consultant you have is what you need. Now, going beyond what Jim is looking for, or what we'll be looking for, the consultant that goes out there and meets people and brings business in here to East Windsor.
But
And
it's,
so to add to your budget with some justification is to add like $40,000 to your budget. To go on the end of what you have, Michael. Because there is some economic development in your budget. Unless you turned it already in and you discussed it.
No one's due the 17th. So,
I would like to increase your budget.
so I would like to increase my budget. And so we're working on that. We're building that case for, the scope of what Mike can provide us. And I think there's value there. The bulk of that type of position is the networking and who you know and who you see and who you talk to
Is
and
that
what you
the
know
type
about
of
your
work that
town.
Mike would be doing, networking?
He does that as a matter of being a professional. He's in several towns. He meets all sorts of businesses. He's in
Yeah.
professional organizations. I think, that's the type of person you want to hire.
Yeah.
They come with
And we have
all
him,
those tentacles.
we have him in your service.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go along with that. But your budget would have to increase to help us out for that network.
And that's something that Mike and I, he comes in on Thursday.
Bring
And
that
we
up.
have our time scheduled to talk about the budget and line on some different, different aspects of things we're working on, and that certainly is one of them. And that's why I was asking if there were specific initiatives.
I do a lot of networking at Cedar Knob Country Club, if you want to get me membership. And that'd be a lot cheaper.
All right, so since we've come to this point, and it sounds like Ruth's going to provide us this year with this information. Instead of voting, would you all withdraw your motion, because I hate negatives? And then we can rediscuss the budget again.
Since I initiated or kind of led you to saying seconded, but I'll withdraw my original motion for that $140.
No, you withdraw, then we don't have to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to our budget, which
Yeah.
last year we actually decreased. And what do you think it should be? I mean, we really didn't have any money to do anything. By the time we were done, paying recording secretary, professional, there's a little in there.
They took away.
Well, because we didn't do much, we're gonna be doing stuff, we're trying to do stuff. What do you think our budget should be? I mean, we're kind of walking in the dark on all of this, so I'm more than happy to accept any number, we just gotta have it done by the 17th.
I think we should go status quo from last year and add $100 to recording secretary to take it up to 8. What was it now?
825.
850. Status quo.
No, we're getting only 4,000, guys.
Status quo with. No, I'm talking about the recording secretary.
Oh, well,
Yeah, okay.
And also put back the professional services, education and dues we have to pay.
so you want to keep it at 4,100, that's where we're at this year now, isn't it? Did I miss
It's gonna
something?
be
42.
42. No, going up, no, 4175.
That's our entire budget.
And what's,
So,
We're going up to 850 for our recording. I'm sorry that we discussed that. I'm sorry. Look around, look at recording secretary.
Well,
You work for the town as well?
I am on 3 other meetings. But it is a pension commission and then
Oh, you're on just you, okay.
budget, yes.
So you're outside contract.
as a part-time recording secretary.
Right, and I don't think in this case here, I don't think we're in disagreement about recording secretary. We can discuss raising that. I think we're discussing the final amount, which is we got to the middle of our year and we don't have any money. We couldn't do diddle. We couldn't spend one dime. We don't have enough money to advertise anything. We don't have enough money to do anything. And that's what I'm talking about. If that's the case, then, we could meet 6 months out of the year because there's nothing for us to do. Everything we've done so far.
$1,800 is what they.
I mean, at least let's push it up to $5,000 or something.
12.
$1,200.
See now, I'm not really following this. There's one here, it's adopted for 21. 4150. Year 22 requested 4150, but on this one it says 22 adopted 1225. Is that
Which
what?
they
I
cut,
think, yeah, they cut.
they cut us down, they cut us down
That's,
to the ankles.
so, I mean,
Gotcha. Oh, you know it. Oh, okay, gotcha.
and that's where I'm coming from.
I got
When this EDC started 15 years ago, and Joe Sauerhofer was the chairman, we got this much, guys. 0.
Okay.
We met at the town hall annex and we were forgotten. The years following, we did a whole bunch of things, and each year we were able to go up a small increment, which I'm not advocating a big increment increase. I'm advocating that we at least get back to the $5,000 we originally were and intend to do the events and things that we've done in the past. If we don't have the money, then we either have to go find sponsorships, which I don't have a problem doing. In other words, if we get a sponsor and that sponsor pays for that event, and at the end of the year, we give some money back, that doesn't mean we were bad. That means we took care of the taxpayers' money. Because any money we don't use goes right back into the town coffers.
All right, Jim, just to get a number, you're looking right now at $5,000.
At least.
So what would we have for backup for that? That would be
I would pull,
initiatives that would bring business to town.
I would pull everything that we had for the last 15 years out and show you. I'll have to go through the town records. We did a lot of things. We had
That brought in
events,
businesses.
attracting businesses. We had events. Those events brought in people like George Herman, who's the president of Windsor Federal, who decided to locate his bank here. We got involved in a lot of things. Now, a lot of things we were able to wrangle. In other words, we probably had $9,000 in events and we only spent probably $4 because we were able to wrangle from the business community.
And you could put that into cost benefit, some type of justification for the.
I could put it in and I could also come in front of the selectmen and explain it. Most of them understand it already.
You will have that opportunity when it's time for budget justification.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Well, most of
put that
these,
$5,000
most of
in
the
there, what are you gonna
selectmen have
say about it
seen
when
what
the
went
time
on.
comes?
Yeah, well, one thing you mentioned was advertisement, but the dues that we do have to pay, and you could probably let us know what dues that our commission would have to pay.
Yeah.
Professional,
People do Metro Hartford. don't they?
and you left, and then you got rid of professional services. We could. Well, I know I want a, no, I know we need transportation from East Windsor to West East Windsor, Warehouse Point, where all Route 5 stuff is going on, all the transportation.
I'll give you an
Yeah, we
example
need
we
that.
used money for. We used our money when we put the sewer line in to promote it. That's one,
Yeah, we did.
okay? And I know because I served that. We also did it for a few other things, and I'm sorry, I've gotten old and those
Okay.
moments are long past, but that we really did utilize.
So the letter that you have to answer for our budget, you have to have some justifications.
I'll dig it up. I mean, it's in the records what we used to do. It's a matter of going and looking at the minutes for the last 15 years.
Now, my idea was for transportation out here from Broadbrook to Wales Point, looking at a lot of things. And I just went over last week or two over to the Trolley Museum today. how about we write a grant and get the tracks all over the Broadway, which they were at one time. And the first guy was all excited about it. Till I ran into the lady who's the director of the Trolley Museum, says these are our tracks and they're not for public transportation.
Okay, well, then we need to see what other grants are out there. And at some point, you're right, we might need a grant writer. Again,
Definitely.
unless we want to be, the money we get in our budget, if we don't use one dime of it, at the end of the year, we'll go back into the town coffers. In the meantime, some opportunity arises, like the sewer line, that showed up because the agricultural, what is it, the national agricultural, whatever, they had grants for towns under 12,000 people, but it required some money.
And
It
the state
required,
passes.
yeah, I mean, this is why I say, what we've got for an operational fund is nothing.
I don't know.
And I understand you all on the 140 and the economic coordinator, we've decided that we're gonna let Ruth handle that. And it sounds like it is being handled, but we still have things that we might have to do. And because the last couple of years, we didn't focus on those things is why the budget was cut. And that's what I'm trying to get us back to. Now, if we ask for 5,000, they give us 4, well, I don't know, they could give us nothing. Again, we're back to where, other than the cost of the recording secretary, they're not obligated to give us anything.
I'm good, grant is one thing that we can justify. A grant for transportation from Broadbrook to the bus line.
Well, just put it,
With the bus line in Warehouse Point, bus line number 24 from Connecticut Transit. That we need, just like they had a grant to do the magic carpet in Enfield.
So Jason just told me the other day, Gail, that did just receive a grant for like a dial-a-ride bus.
that's a little different, close.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
here, what does a grant writer cost? It costs money. Jason's also talking in the fall, and he hasn't put it together yet, but he's also talking having some kind of product show, something along that lines, which obviously we would have to be involved in, and we might need $1,000. Now, again, I am back to the wrangler of free goods, just like I did in this ad here,
Great,
okay?
free.
Free is good. If it doesn't cost the taxpayer something, great.
May I get back to dial ride?
Well, no, actually, we're gonna talk about dial-a-ride in the next thing. I want to stay on our budget. And that's why I say what you're talking about is exactly correct. Grant writers,
Yeah, only
Grants.
because
they're gonna take money.
Ruth Ann brought it up, but want me to wait? I will.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get to that. I'm trying to get us to understand that if we have no money, we can have all the wonderful ideas in the world, but we're gonna have nothing.
It was a reasonable dollar,
I'm
Mr. Chair.
saying 5, I'd say 10, but I know you guys won't go for it.
I go for 10. We had 10.
Oh, then make a motion.
I move that we
Request.
request our budget to be $10,000. Justification of a need of grant writer
And activities.
for activities and transportation from,
We can fight about that in the next, don't include that in there.
it's a
We
grant
just
writer.
got,
What do we need a grant writer for?
well, you.
That's what I
our
said.
sewer line.
If I'm a selectman, I can only put one foot up.
Well, and I can put it like this, Gil, if you put it specific, you can't use it for something else. If you put it specific and a staffer says, oh, I'm putting this in my budget already, you're not gonna get it. So please, if you're gonna make a motion, make the 10,000. Let's sit in front of the selectmen. I'd be glad to present the argument.
Justification. Okay.
We don't need that to request it. We need it to prove to them when it comes time.
I'll amend that. $10,000 added to our budget,
As our budget.
as our budget.
Right, and that would
Which will
include
include-
recording secretary, so if we decide we want to do something with that, we can,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's my motion.
Okay, then I need a second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Just that justification, we won't meet again, so justification, if you, I don't know if you can email that stuff around.
Well, no, all we have to do is have it ready for December 17th, justifications. gotta give enough to her to go with, but also you get to sit in front of the selectmen. It can be worked.
17th or-
It's gotta be done. We gotta get
You
it.
you gotta submit it by the 17th, then you gotta go in front of the board of selectmen after that. Correct?
Once that,
Yes, Charlie's.
Yeah.
Charlie's going, yeah, I got 40 meetings next month. I know.
then.
So that's exactly what I'm
Have you called
saying.
for a vote?
Yeah, wait, I got the second, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, Route 5 corridor study and potential grants bus routes. That's your baby, Gil.
Okay, I looked at that all day long, and a lot of transportation going on, but all along Route 5 and down the river.
Right.
With possibilities of increasing bus route 24 to get up to the nursing home and Walmart. Bus terminal, that's Connecticut Transit, and their original Route 24 wasn't going up to Walmart. Now, when I retired for a while, I drove a bus for disabled and nursing home, people going to hospital, one of those little jitneys. And I was at the nursing home and finally know they changed their name several times. And some of the workers are called CNA workers, CNA, I think. They help nurses. And talking to one of them says, I gotta walk down the Windsor lot, get a ride down to Bloomfield, I'll get the bus go to Bloomfield, because there's no transportation here. Now, this bus, Route 24, has included that nursing home, so the persons like that who they make more than minimum wage, but not a lot. They can now, or will now, reading this, get that transportation to the bus line.
Well, and I think part of the problem is the bus line is more than just transportation. The bus would allow opening up of, say, Broadbrook Main Street area.
Yeah,
It also would allow the movement of our workforce from Broadbrook down to these bus routes.
no transportation from Broadbrook.
Well, that's what we're discussing.
That's gonna be on your justification for our grant, right?
Well, it's one of the things that we have to look into.
This, which is pretty in detail, can't read it all, but in the print and some of the.
I thought it was gonna be better than the computer.
Yeah,
It
but
was.
nothing going out east. Horace Greeley says, go west, young man. We want something going west. from Broadbrook.
Right, so the only way we're gonna do that, though, is to talk about it and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Might there be a private group that might have an interest?
Well,
Might we be able to find a grant like we found from the agriculture? to
they
put
did
in
an
the sewer
infill,
line?
Pamela Brown and infill.
Well,
she's still there.
but they did it in a specific way. They addressed it as a senior thing. We need to look at it as a workforce transportation.
This is not, well, the carpet ride is just, they have bus stops.
Well, and down
And you
here,
don't have to be a senior, but Dial Ride does.
right, and same thing with Nutmeg Senior
Medical
Rides, which
disabled.
does the whole area. There's a whole bunch of different little things around. But like the day you took the ride in the bus
Yes.
with the real estate agents.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is, wouldn't it be nice if we had a bus, whether it's a school bus or a professional bus? I'm not getting into that because I don't know enough about it. But wouldn't it be nice if we had a run 8 times a day that matched up with the ones
Skills
from
travel.
Connecticut Transit?
Yeah, sure. It'd be nice.
Okay, and what that's gonna take is some money. So what we need to look into is where can we get that money? I would be willing to bet with what's going on with the Build Back America program.
Yeah.
That there's probably something out there. The fact that our community is still small enough, and this is again why I bring up the agricultural grant, because that grant, if we were 13,000 people, we couldn't have had that grant.
Yeah.
It was for communities of 12,000 or less.
Exactly.
So that will be one of our attacks this year. And I'm using that word, somebody got upset when I used the word attack earlier this year. What I mean is that will be one of our focuses, is trying to figure out how we can get our workforce transferred to where the buses or businesses are, because if we develop Route 5, they need employees.
That was for the casino. We were all set. Hey,
Right.
we got to get these people out to work.
Right.
Not happening.
Well, and now the other thing is Broadbrook Center here is turning into quite a artsy place. We've got an art gallery, we've got an art studio, we've got the music venue, the Broadbrook Opera House is being very
Question on that.
successful.
Question on that.
The Main Street Grill is providing music. From what I've talked to with Camp, what he's gonna do at the end of the street here is gonna be awesome.
So
So,
why awesome? What is that? The house you
well,
live in?
I careful what I'm saying here, but he intends, the guy, Camp bought all the land out.
I know that. I was up to see
And he
it.
plans to do probably some kind of farmer's market. I don't think it's through zoning, I don't think it's gone past this room, but he said it to me the other day when I talked to him,
The land next to the house?
right?
Oh.
So there's big plans. Tom Coons has talked for many years about investing more. He's invested in the Merlot, he's bought the Opera House. Capital Sweeping is located up behind the Dollar General. I mean, there's just so
Where's his
much.
office?
Huh?
Where's Coon's office?
The Capital Sweeping, his
Yeah.
wife owns it. Okay, so they're invested in this community. So I think there's some
Okay.
businesses that would be willing to invest. That's why I say this is something we need to focus on.
So where are we now?
We're
Okay.
on your Route 5. If you want to move on, we can move on to the next thing. If you're all set with transit.
I'm all set because there's a thing we have to do for budget for that.
Well-
Commercial real estate.
Oh, the next thing, okay.
Yeah.
Um, No, I want to make sure we're done with the transit. Everybody said that will be one of our focuses this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then Ruth, with that, anything the staff can provide us in regards to something like that? And if not, let me know. We'll see what we can dig up. I don't know what crosses your desk.
I had a brief conversation with Gil about, we're talking about grants for this. And somebody's got to identify the grants.
Okay, so Gil, you said you're involved with the transit group still?
Great Hartford Transit and Ground.
Okay, what I would ask is if you could contact them and ask them about that.
The last word I had was last meeting, last month, and it was the transportation that they can use, the little buses like we have here for Dial-A-Ride, but without the elevators. They also have elevators they call ADA.
Okay.
Yes, and then they have those are not just for
Sorry.
transportation. They said they go 3/4 of a mile from Connecticut transit routes, which means that the Connecticut transit route was originally on Winchell's Main Street, right? And they go across the river. They said we'll take in around the loop would be Carousel up Route 5 down. Now it wasn't down to Walmart, but down to Walmart and back down along the river south. Water.
All right,
So that's just a loop. So the company or the board I'm on goes 3/4 of a mile beyond that, and that's it. They don't go out the broad.
okay.
Most of them will go.
What I would think that we should do then is there someone that's the chairman or the leader of this group? I mean,
Great Harbor Transit,
yep,
Vicky Shotman, that's who I talked to.
okay, I would like to invite her to our February 1st meeting. If we're gonna do this, let's talk to them.
She's only done a relay what I said, but she's
Well,
not on the bus.
You might find she has something new to tell us.
No, invite her.
Okay, invite her and tell her why we're having her.
Do you want to have her focus on grant funding up there?
Absolutely.
she's a crackerjack with me.
Well, that's exactly who we need to help us.
If she doesn't, then perhaps you'd have to visit her and
Well, if she could come visit us, one meeting, we're scheduled for February 1st, we're 6 o'clock in the evening.
okay, I'm on a Zoom with her on Thursday, so no,
Okay.
on the 16th is a Thursday.
Okay, and if we do that, maybe we'll invite the selectmen to join us as well.
Okay, let's see if we can get her as a guest.
Right.
Gotta check her schedule.
Right. Well, Gil, if she can't do February 1, we know March 1 or April 5th.
I'm with her at 16th, our last Zoom considered or what, just in case we're able to meet at the railroad station in Hartford, which
Yeah.
we control that
Well,
railroad station.
I'm making it simple.
Yeah.
Here's our list of meetings.
Okay,
I'd
I'll
like
talk
to
to her.
meet with her before June.
I'll talk to her.
Okay. So we're done with transit. Everybody set? Brian, did you have anything? Okay, commercial real estate. Did we, since our last meeting, and I was asking, can we get a list of them? I went to my WPCA meeting.
Yep.
And we had a discussion. Art brought up the fact that there was concern about people coming in, getting wrong information. The WPCA, and I'm on the commission, I'm not the entire commission, I don't make decisions, so what I'm saying is what the commission is saying. We do have security, I'm putting on my WPCA app. We did have a security situation, and I said, Art, what do you mean? He goes, well, we can't share everything, and we had a long discussion about this. But I also said, well, what do we do when you folks need something? He said, well, Len Norton contacted me, and he was using an example that happened that week. And about some project, Len asked for the information on a Monday, and I forget what Ed said it took till Wednesday. So it took 2 days, not really that long in the scheme of things. And I said, well, so if the town could provide you with a list of real estate. In other words, we got 5 listings here. And again, I'm talking about ones that are listed with realtors. I'm not looking to find things. I'm looking for things that are already on the market. Can we provide the town staff, meaning Bruce Group, with the information they need about sewer lines? Because sewer lines, whether people know it or not, play an important role. When something goes in and the sewer line ain't right, all of a sudden the project that was going to be one way is not going to work out. And they got rules, believe me, in sewers, diameter pipes. We just approved the South Road situation. We actually went against our own rules. I think it was the diameter of the pipe. If something wasn't right, but it would cost the town a huge amount of money, and nobody wanted to do that. So the WPCA said, no, we're gonna, do what we should do, which is assist the town in getting these properties straightened out. But we want to make it so when Joe Smith comes in, and again, I'm looking to have this commercial real estate listings from your tour, Gil, the ones that are with realtors, in hand them to the WPCA, and they've agreed that they would do it, which is if you gave them 5 properties, and I'm just using that as maybe got 10, that's like 10, that they would provide you with the information you need. So when that person actually comes through the door, it can be one-stop shopping. Right now, what has to happen, say I walked in today to talk to Ruth, what really should happen next is then I got to go to the WPCA to make sure the sewer is there. If we can make sure that the staff and the information that they have, because of security, I can't put it better than that, because we don't want anybody to know what everything is. They, however, can provide Ruth and the staff with what they need to give to that individual. So the ducks are all there. We just need to find a way to connect them. Now, what would happen is once we get this connected, which is the sewer lines information combined with the regs you guys are talking about, I've been watching, they have been working on the regs at P&Z, which is going to improve things, the concepts they've been talking about. Then we can really promote it, especially if it's a multiple listing or a real estate agent, because they already are out in the real world. We can pull that over and we can promote it for free, not only using the Facebook page that we got, but because of what I've done in the past on LinkedIn, I'm pretty much tied in with most real estate in the state. Different realtors, Patrick, Peter DeMalley, all these guys that have a handle on who's coming in. Not so much on what we got. What I would do is that would be the information we're going to put out. Not everything, just it would be here. This is a listing. The Economic Development Commission is presenting this listing by XYZ Real Estate. If you have an interest, our town staff is ready to help you with the details and the technical. the real estate agent would love it because it's free. And you were talking last month about how do we promote people coming here? That's how you do it. So unless I've missed some step in this process, we've actually got it all set up. And we just need to get that list together to provide to the WPCA, which I would go down there as my WPCA guy and say, get it to them. And then we would have it for you folks, and then we could take it and then we could promote it, which is the real thing that you were talking about. How do we get somebody in? Until we can network, because this COVID thing's been awful as far as networking. People are not meeting in groups like they used to.
So you will have to use our webpage, promoting it and stating that we're one-stop shopping. And also, if I was coming in here with a business, I'd want to say, well, I have a meeting with one department, and then I have to wait 30 days to answer what they wanted to ask this meeting and all that. The meetings and like PCA, they don't have special meetings. They have special meetings at deal, but they meet once a month.
Well, the
Is
staff,
that correct?
the staff handles it.
What?
What we're trying to
Your
do.
your commission, wetlands?
Wetlands is monthly,
Yeah.
ECC is
Right.
twice a month.
Okay.
And if they fit regulations, the staff can go move forward.
And when folks come in with an idea of what they'd like to do,
Yeah.
we invite them in for conceptual meetings, and WPCA will. Right?
Good.
Art would be at the table, health department's at the table.
So it's
fire
not wait
marshal's at the
30
table.
days and.
Well, just to get, who are all the stakeholders? Where are the hurdles? What should they be focusing on? So if it ends up they have to focus on bringing sewer and water to a property, then they're
You
connected.
say water, water's a big thing that.
Yeah.
We need all over,
Mhm.
and with the new.
Well, the key is though, if we're promoting
man,
it, if we're promoting it, what we want them to be able to do is to call on to Bruce's office.
Yeah.
And just, she'll have most of the, if, especially if it's on the property we're promoting and have all the steps done, you can arrange the meeting, but if somebody comes in and the sewer line's way out there, and now Ruth knows it, because she doesn't have that information, that's what I'm trying to tell you, there is a,
Okay.
there is a difference, and it has to do with security, I'm going back to that, because that's what I've been
Yeah,
told.
Agree. Now, just to put a cap on it. The information needs to be in one place for me to come in with my business. And then, once that's in one place, when I come to this meeting and we have my big drawing over there on the easel, and this is what I want to do, this is what I do, and jump over the fairy shrimp and the wood ducks or wood frogs or whatever they are, go through that. That's the wetlands environment.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, though, is put it all in one spot ahead,
And go with that.
right? I mean, unless I
Well, the
miss something.
concept plans, yeah, I mean, the idea is that we create a real estate portfolio. of What's conceptually viable.
Right, and there's always
You
gonna
can't make
be,
any
Is that the way
promises
forward?
because you still have to get your approvals.
but it would
and
make it a lot
engineering.
easier than them
And that-
calling in and having an error occur, or them having to say, hey, you gotta wait while
But
we
that,
find it
yeah,
out.
to get those concept plans to a point where you would be promoting that concept is not that quick. So we're working on the regs to be able to do that. But and you have to learn some things about the property like you're talking about, where are the wetlands, what's the
Okay.
area? Do you have public water? Do you have public sewer?
Yeah.
Uh,
How about the infrastructure program that the Democrats and Republicans all voted on recently?
mhm.
And water was one thing, transportation was another thing. How many billions of dollars we got in the state of Connecticut? So if we want any part of that pie, we have to go to state government with our proposals and
Right, but we're
and
not
also
there.
transportation.
What I'm trying to do is streamline what I have discovered.
Streamline is the word.
Well, and I know it's a problem. I'm telling you, between all these groups, is a small problem, and I'm looking to get rid of it. So when we advertise XYZ property and we say contact our planning and development department, our planning and development department, other than what you're talking about with all the other meetings, I understand, can say right away, oh, because we've already researched this property, because it's listed by a real estate agent, we know the sewer line's 10 feet away, or the sewer line's 150 feet away. I mean, there's things that they need to know. I don't know, I'm not a sewer guy in that sense. But that's what I'm saying. And I really think the key is the promotional part. I don't want to promote a commercial property that's going to create a headache for any of the departments. I want it to be able to come in, and Ruth is really going to be the linchpin on this, which is we'll get the list that you all already have. We'll get it down to the WPCA. They've agreed to already process it, and if they don't, let me know. I'll go handle that in. And we get it back to Ruth. At that point, Ruth says, Jim, this is the listing, put it on our Facebook page, let's get it out in the real world. And that, it's gonna take a month or two to put together. But as I did discuss this at length at WPCA, because I know what it is, and I know it drives business people crazy. So I'm looking to make it so when they come here, they'll think, wow, these guys know what they're doing. They've got their act together, so it's fairly smooth. We're still gonna have to have conceptual meetings. We still have to fit into zoning. I'm sure there's always one or two things that will make you crazy, but it'll make us look good.
Good, so we advertise that.
And then once we have all,
all.
yeah, it's not gonna cost us anything.
Right.
Does that sound like a plan to everybody?
Sounds like a plan. I got,
Ruth,
what do
is
you
that
get?
something we can get from the staff, is the initial input to the WPCA or some, or?
Is that the only thing?
We have a list of properties on the website right now that are developable properties.
Okay,
You know that they're
right,
It's a large list, 50 properties. We're looking through those right now. We're focused on which of those makes sense to go forward with a conceptual.
okay.
The portfolio becomes a 10 before we have
Well,
You know what I mean?
and again,
So-
you've heard me 3 times say
spring
5
to
or
the
10.
top, right? And so
Well,
we're
let's
just
do that.
we're just early in that process.
Okay,
Because if
so,
we have to go out and find out more information on the property, where the wetlands are, for
Well-
real, not just on the GIS layer, but really. It has to be something on the market, and something that a property owner wants to do, something that, so
well,
it takes
again, I'm
time. I
back
can't
to,
go and say, yeah, next week, Jim, I'll give you
Is
5
that you?
properties to advertise.
no,
Your
that's
boots
not,
on the ground, you go out and walk some of these wetlands? Is that your position as well as the?
No,
well,
wetlands
there's-
agent, if there's an application before us, that someone's doing something, yes. To hire someone to go out,
Not yet.
not yet. We
No.
would have to hire someone,
And-
not a
and-
person that's a staff person, a consultant who delineates
and
wetlands.
and again, I'm back to the
Yeah.
properties that are already listed by a commercial real estate, which is the big difference.
Understood.
I can go out and pick them. I can go online and find them. I'm looking for what you guys have looked at already as real viable properties.
Jim, you're chairman. And you can walk into her office and sit down with her and discuss it. We know that you're connected to real estate, so.
No, actually,
I
I'm
think
retired from real estate.
I think we're beating the dead horse now.
Okay, well, when they're all on board.
On board.
Well, I don't want the staff to move forward if our commission isn't on board with this. That's what I'm,
Does it matter? Does it matter our commission on board? or not?
Of course, I'm going to support your endeavors.
Okay, that's
There's
fair.
this cart's already in motion.
Right, no,
We have 50 sites listed on our website that are developable properties in town.
that's fair.
We are currently trying to focus in to come up with the top 5 to do conceptuals. I don't know when we're gonna be ready to go advertise them.
Okay,
That's where I'm at. Like, I can't
Yeah.
promise you that I can give you those in a couple of weeks.
Working
because
up there.
It's a working process, and to
Okay.
have you to
Even
take
if-
it and advertise something that's not done could
even
cause
if we
chaos.
get
Yeah.
one, no, and even if we get, say you get one set, let's start with one. I'm trying to do it as a baby step.
I can keep you posted on where we're at. We're just starting to focus in on which ones we want to get more information on. That's what I'm saying, that the ones that we saw and flagged are posted on our website already. The pin marks, click on them, you see a picture of them, you see a site plan, if there's one available, you see if there's wetlands. It tells you if they have sewer, if they have septic, if they have gas, fuel, or oil, fuel, you know, like, all that information is on the web right now. Right?
Good.
And
Okay.
we're just at the very early start.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
I can't,
no,
I can't say,
I'm not
oh,
asking for a
post this,
promise. You're
just-
missing where I'm
yeah.
at. I'm trying to get them, make sure it's in motion.
Yep.
Make sure that we follow through. And if we start with one or two, excellent. Okay, in other words, once you have one
I
that
get
you
it.
all are comfortable with, that's gonna be your test one. That's the one you
Right.
gotta start with. Once we get in the habit of it, it will get easier.
Yeah.
Okay, and,
And the WPCA piece is a part, a good information part as we pick our top five. You know,
Right.
as we do that, that'll be a good, but we won't be ready to paste it anywhere for people to start calling about stuff that is a work in process.
okay,
You
well,
know what I'm
but
saying?
let's remember, without the casino, the town needs to, I don't want to sound like I gotta be careful because people do tell me I'm arrogant, right, Brian? He's told. We want to move cautiously, but we want to move forward. And that's the key to this. If we don't, we're going to lose what momentum we might already have. You've all done a great job. Our first selectman has done an excellent job. And I really, just the bus tour that y'all did. That's why I'm saying we need to keep, we missed some of it with the casino. We should have been doing this when the casino was coming in. Because at that point, people had an interest, and if we had done all this other legwork and had it set up, even with the casino failing, we might have still succeeded with some of these properties. Now we have to tie into things like the Windsor Lock Sports Complex. That whole thing is coming to reality. When it does, what do we have over here? We have restaurants. We have 26 different variety of restaurants in town. We right now have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 major
We
hotels.
have to drive out here though, because there's no bus.
But the hotels for giant jitneys all over the place. People that go to Manili's for New Year's Eve can get a jitney back to the Baymont Inn, back to the Comfort Inn. That's why I say this is all about interconnecting all of these things. And I don't want to lose the opportunity because once the sports complex opens, what's going to happen is the other towns around Windsor Locks are going to realize it. And a place like Suffield is going to need, I mean, look at Summers lately. They've been developing because they realize they need tax dollars. This town needs tax dollars, commercial developments. to really do it. Okay,
I agree.
so we're all on board. Ruth, I'm not trying to rush you like to speed. I'm just
No,
trying to-
no, I don't think anything you're saying is
Okay,
wrong.
Good.
I'm just saying, we're on it and we have good momentum. And I would hate to rush to advertise something that's a
no,
work in
I
progress.
don't
that's
want to
all.
do that. I want to make sure. No, we want to make sure it's right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. List of businesses. This list I made up for y'all because that thing was so large.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that. These are good, these are
Okay.
recipients.
These are the recipients, and at the very end, I tried to include the nonprofit organizations as well. If you know, some of the businesses got less than 10,000, most
Yeah.
did. I read through the reports of each business. I'm glad I'm not the owner of some of these businesses. Boy, I've owned a small business. So hopefully they all can stick around. But we were talking about it, who got what. A lot of them had to do with rent, being closed. Some I didn't even know existed. How's that? So it was quite interesting, but I do know that from the ones that I do know and the ones that have received it, they are so thankful. They absolutely are thankful that the town's done this for them. So this is a real plus in our thing.
Henry's getting Henry's.
Huh?
Henry's getting this list?
No. No, it's alphabetical, so anybody you're looking for. Not every business needed it.
They stayed open through.
An example would be the Chamber of Commerce. We could have applied for it, but the only loss has been to me.
You both get your private business.
Right.
Chamber of Commerce, no. Well,
No, but we had to redevelop our whole website, I mean, our computer system. And we didn't get, we had probably 2/3 of
Who
our
paid for it?
membership not paid for it.
who paid for that computer?
Chamber did,
Where they get their money?
members.
And you apply for this.
No, because the only thing that was missing out of our monies was payroll.
Okay.
Okay? I
Okay.
can't see taking this money and putting it into the chamber so I can put money in my pocket when some business needs it more. Limited amount of money. So this is the list. As you can see, everything from the Agnes Gallery, Belvedere, the deli. Connecticut Electric Railway Association, that's the trolley museum. That could have been under a nonprofit, but I consider them a business. Farms, David Kinney's Farm, Likely's was in there somewhere.
The horse farm stalls too, I saw him,
No,
Peter.
Peter,
Is he
I
the
left,
planning commission?
Second Chance, Peter LaRouche,
Yeah.
Second
I
Chance.
went over there.
Yeah, he's a business though. He was listed as a business. See, I read the
Nonprofit.
actual grant information.
Yeah.
So the nonprofits at the end there were ones that were listed basically as nonprofits.
Who's the
Um,
business? Like a champ.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yep, I see it.
And then like senior, what was it? Nutmeg Senior Rights. They're a nonprofit, but they're really a business. So I left them in there.
You said that we can get the dial-a-ride at down the into the section here. I just, the Ruth had mentioned, may I go to dial-a-ride? No, we want to stay with this. Because we have a list to look at, and I'm sure they all appreciate it, and they're all grateful for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I said I would provide you with it because it was small.
Okay, no, there's I get pizza there, very grateful, and they went all through the COVID thing. All right, dial-a-ride, talking to Teresa over at dial-a-ride, she can talk transportation there. Dial-a-ride if you're 60 plus. And that's scheduled, and they have a shopping at Geisler's on Wednesday, and on Monday they go to Walmart, and they give them 2 hours for shopping, and they come back. Also, they have age 18 and over for medical, social security disabilities. They do not give rise to jobs. There's, I think there's Connecticut has job thing for that. If you have a group, they go to a section, but I can get to that next time we talk transportation. I can go today. So Teresa says that dial-a-ride is really not what we're looking for.
No, I agree.
All right, so that may change. And then the grant, the grant for Magic Carpet Ride with the Jettons. People from New Jersey call them Jettons, the little buses.
Yeah. Senior Center has
them.
them. The Senior Center, they're at Geisler's. They go to Geisler's, Walmart, and they also cross over into Windsor Locks, I think.
Well, I got.
They go
days.
once a month, they go different places all over.
Once a week, I got the days, once a week.
Yeah, it's the Senior Center.
Yeah, senior center.
So we're actually looking though, we're trying to create some kind of public transportation and we tie in with Connecticut Transit.
Yes, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so that's takes care of that.
Okay.
Also, I did the trolley. One thing, before I go into my third thing, Upper House got a painting up there, how that happened. You were gonna.
Oh, I'll be glad to inform you what went on. They were originally involved with Rise Up Connecticut. There was artistic differences and those had to do with a conception at the beginning and the final. The product, that building was privately owned. The Coons had already invested $5,000 with Connecticut Rise Up. They did return that money and any money collected, because I did go out and I was asked to by the Coons to collect money to try to do it. The Coons ended up paying for that themselves. There's going to be an unveiling of it, quote unquote, I've already looked at it 100 times. On Saturday, 2 to 5, there's gonna be a reception. The artist invited everybody tonight. So that's how that got done. It's private business.
Just
to
pay
care.
for it. There was some problem, not a problem, there's some ideas of what artists you put up there, not the actual artist, but the, like we have a John Lennon,
That was all conception by the Coons family. And what happened is when the artwork came back from Connecticut Rise Up, it was not to their liking.
Okay,
You know, the Pope and Da Vinci, Da Vinci or Michelangelo. they got
well,
kicked out of
it's a very diverse group up there. 'cause you got,
Absolutely.
Bob Marley, you
yeah.
got Bob Marley up there.
They got
Right.
Jerry
That was
Garcia.
Ghana.
It's not much
Yeah.
better, okay?
So it was pretty cool up there, looks good.
Well, they're
All right.
really pushing the music venue. If you look at their schedules coming up, they've got a Christmas thing on Thursday.
Should be in here.
Well, you go online, they're cranking.
Okay. That's
Look at,
cool.
you get the holiday listing I sent out on Wednesday. Look on there. I listed both the Trolley Museum and what's going on with the Opera House with the link to each of them. And you can buy tickets right online or Facebook. It's been very successful.
Okay, my last thing,
Yeah.
going on to a different subject. Go on.
Well, we're on other economic or business.
Yeah,
subjects.
it blends in with what we're talking about all night, is, when I get that building, my company I'm bringing in, that I talked about earlier, and then, right, as an example, when it's all up. Now, where's the building inspector? It's been a month, where is it?
For what?
So I can get occupancy in this building in my business here. Where is it? So I think that our building inspector needs an assistant. Especially, he's getting pretty old, he's gonna retire. And who's gonna leave? He's gonna leave, and who's gonna take care of it?
Well, actually, I thought our building inspector was pretty good. Tom had to spend.
We have one of the best building inspectors.
Right, I mean, she ran with him there.
I sit down and play cribbage with him.
Right, and Ray did a great job at the Opera House.
So I'm not complaining about the building
No.
inspector. I'm giving examples.
Oh,
What if it's COVID? What if he has COVID? He can't come out.
well, that's up to the board of selectmen.
If he goes on vacation,
So
who's
our
covering?
department-
right? So these businesses, if they have to wait for the building inspector or spectators, which should be, then yay, then they got someone.
But again,
Or also, why not, unless there's why not share some of the duties in emergencies?
again,
Like
that's,
fire departments, go to Enfield, go to Suffield, go to what's a lot,
well, Gil,
territorial.
that's
would probably be it.
really not under our bailiwick. That's under her department.
Well, it's under how happy are the companies,
Wait a minute.
how happy am I?
Wait a minute.
How
The
happy
building
am I?
department's not under
Yeah.
the planning.
Well, it's not under
How
us.
happy am I coming into here?
Well, wait, have we got a complaint from the business about the present building? inspector?
You got plenty of racist recommendations.
So,
I give
so
them all
where's,
that.
so what are we discussing? If we can't discuss an economic coordinator without stepping on toes, a building inspector is one step even further.
That's poking a rattlesnake, building inspector. on the business.
Yeah, I mean, I
He should
think,
have help. He should have.
I would hope Rand, if he was going to retire, would plan ahead. The COVID,
No, okay, Rand is gonna retire.
okay,
And
and
he needs to teach someone something.
well, I'm hoping that he lets the selectmen know that he's planning it. They can start the search.
Yeah, okay,
for
we
it.
won't get into that.
Yeah.
That,
We're being recorded.
yeah. The best you're gonna get,
Yeah, I've got no
the
problems with
best
that.
you teach. So, my apologies to you, Rand.
You did a good job, that's all I know. He
No,
does a
you've
good
done
job.
you've done a great job.
Yeah.
He's a busy man.
You know,
Bylaws.
I just, for people's just reference, because questions have come up.
Boy,
It's good to refresh on the bylaws of the commission, keep things focused. we don't need to go through them right now. We did just do a revision to this year in April. But I did hear earlier today that a question about how many members to make a forum, so I thought, ooh, it might be timely to just offer up a copy to folks.
And I would say the important thing about the bylaws, Ruth, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but we were talking tonight, purpose 1.2 and 1.3 is what I think everyone should take a real good look at. Because the 1.2 says the purpose is for economic development, preparation, economic development plan, strategy, promotion of growth, retention, and diversification of business, industry, tourism. Okay, so we're talking about all that tonight. The commission shall conduct research. Again, we're an advisory board. We are not necessarily just doing things. We're an advisory board. We see a problem, we should be trying to fix it. What's going on in the community. For instance, I've been talking tonight, economic condition and trends. I've been talking about how Broadbrook is turning into an art center, into a cultural center. And we should be capitalizing on that. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff that we really should be involved in. The only reason I brought the economic coordinator up is now that I know somebody's actually doing something about it, I'm not happy, because that's what we need. Read through this because these are here and there are what they're all about. Now, with membership, there's talk about attendance, resignations.
Yep.
Okay, if you're resigning from the commission, it has to be in writing.
I could report, Mr. Chairman, that Bob Maynard has turned in his resignation. Right.
I saw it. Yes, you were chairman. I saw it. And that's what we need.
Right.
And then unfortunately, if someone doesn't attend, and I'm a real believer, if someone has a family problem or something going on, I would never do this. But if someone doesn't attend a certain amount of meetings, we have to discuss it.
I think we've done that.
Yeah, well, Brian's new, so I'm trying to walk. through it.
Okay.
But
I
I'm trying-
just want to make sure I show up.
And I hope we didn't talk too much tonight.
No.
So,
So if there's any questions, I don't think there is on this, is there?
on the bylaws, not for me.
Okay.
No, it was just provided for FYI.
So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything else, gentlemen? I should say it that way. There's-
No, congratulations on your winning the election to be chairman. Hard fought battle.
And it's like the other commission on a hard fought battle, you're stuck there, sit, take this position. I'm also the vice chairman of the WPCA, that's why I said it. There's a problem with that.
So we have
We're gonna
a
solve that problem. Huh?
We,
Oh, I forgot.
Get through this. This is pretty cool. this stuff.
I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh,
7:30.
no discussion allowed, all in favor? Very good, thank you.
It's meetings usually don't go to.
Bye, Charlie.
You know that.
Good night, guys.
There's no sheriff in town. A lot of verbiage you have to type out there.